Partnerships remain very key in operating in Africa. For UBA, you're partnering with Tony Elumelu Foundation.
Yes.
And it's focused on women, but business generally. Explain to us what exactly is happening there.
Okay. The Tony Elumelu Foundation has been running now for about 10 years. And it focuses on a cross range of startups within Africa. And we've received applications from 54 countries across the continent. And looking at the numbers of the people who've been awarded, about 35.6% of those are women. And currently, actually, as we speak, we are running a recruitment drive that will close on the 31st of March. And I'll encourage a lot of entrepreneurs to participate. I think this is one of the engagements that is very core to us and building the entrepreneurship in Africa. I think, like I alluded earlier, about 80% of the businesses are SMEs. And if you look at where the SMEs are drawn from, some of them are drawn even from some of the sectors that some of the institutions will consider as risky sectors, agriculture, the emerging gig economy, the ICT. And what we do is we give the grant in 2 bits. One in capacity building, and also we give $5,000 as seed capital. And now from the banks, now in all the subsidiaries, we support these entrepreneurs in terms of other funding. So I'll encourage as many Kenyans to participate. I think so far we've had about 477 Kenyans who've been eligible and have participated. And I know if they could share the experiences, it's been a worthwhile experience that people should participate in.
Maybe somebody is thinking hard, if I participate, for me to raise my chances of getting this support, what should I be on the lookout for it?
Okay. We look for unique ideas, of course. We are looking at 54 countries. We look at areas that will have the much impact in the economies or the societies that we operate in. So those will be some of the pointers on that. And we're not saying that the business should be actually been running. We're even looking at idea stage. Yeah, how confident are you about that idea? How will it scale up in terms of growing in the space that you're looking at?
Okay.
Yes.
So if somebody has unique idea, starting from ideation stage,
yes,
all the way to if you're already running a business, you're eligible to, participate.
Yes. You're eligible to.
Yeah,
you're eligible to participate.
That's nice.
Yes.
People should take advantage of that.
They should. And I think from the numbers that we saw in 2019, of course in 2020 we didn't do because of COVID, but in 2019 we actually saw numbers grow. And something that is worth noting, we saw about 42% of women applicants, which is quite encouraging. So we encourage all people to participate in this opportunity.
You've mentioned the expansion bit.
Yes.
And when we talk about, right now, a lot of people actually, they're closing down their brick and mortar, stations. They're saying everyone is going digital. So in terms of measuring expansion reach, vis-a-vis also keeping the costs capped and not necessarily pushing people going online at the same time. How do you balance that, especially with the expansion bit of it?
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, UBA Kenya has only been represented in Nairobi. And clearly, while we still move into the digital space, there are some people who still want to see your presence in some markets. It makes a lot of difference. And for us, how we're expanding, we're just not going to every corner of the market. It's very deliberate, and we've also done a feasibility of what kind of customers are in these markets as well. As a group, all the subsidiaries should have at least a minimum of 10 branches in every country. And in Kenya, we only have 3 branches. So for us, we still have scope. And if you look at some of the major counties that are actually cities now, we need at least to have representation there. And also just to close that close engagement with some of those customers, because they speak to some of the key sectors that we are focusing as a group. If you look at Mombasa, and if you look at the whole equation of the regional business, Mombasa is key. We must be represented at the Mombasa region. If you look at agriculture, Nakuru is very key. So for us as a bank, it's an area that we must be.
Definitely.
Yes.
So you still have 7 to go,
Yes.
hopefully.
Yes.
All right. And as we finish up, we are looking at the banking sector performance, especially over the past year. We are seeing banks make profits. I mean, your Q3 2020 results, you're making crazy profits, almost, 100+%, yeah, jump from the previous year. And we've had the pandemic. Maybe explain to us how exactly that happens. How are banks able to make profits amidst a pandemic?
Okay, good question. Good question. We always see that bankers, it's one area where we never see the dry spell. But we saw a bit of effect because of COVID. And out of the loans that we had granted, I think for the sector, we restructured close to about 40% of the total portfolio. If you look at the total industry NPL, we're about 13% for the industry. And out of those restructured facilities, because we were going up to between 3 months to about 12 months in terms of restructures, some of them still we had to carry on. Because the sectors that were really affected, like tourism was really affected, education was really affected, until just this year is when we saw some of the sectors like education come back to life. And out of that, we expect about 7% of some of those companies to completely not recover. Now, looking at where the areas of opportunities came in for the banking sector, one was on the FX, and again in terms of the transactional income, where people had to do a lot of transactions during the period. Again, remember, we're also operating in an area where we are controlled by the CBR, and a lot of our loans also are pegged on that CBR rate. So it was largely on the transactional income and the FX income. That's how we saw a lot of growth. Yes.
So there is a dry spell, but it just happens in some elements of it, but it's balanced off by others. So you're able to balance.
And also to speak as well, we saw a lot of cost in costs because we had to have a lot of our workforce working away from the office. Also, that had an implication in terms of the costs on the other side for most of the organizations as well.
Definitely.
Yes.
Briefly, the last question. What is the future of banking?
The future is here already, if you ask me. If we don't reinvent as a bank, you won't survive in future. If I look at where banking was when I started my banking career, it's totally different. It's really evolved. And you have to keep in touch with the market and anticipate your customer needs. Our customers are also changing, We had cases where customers would go to a bank and queue for 4 hours. Right now, we have a different kind of a customer who has no patience. They only give you one chance. And if you don't get it right, they will leave you and leave you with a trail of damage. So it's really evolving. So we have to be first aware of the customer we are serving, the needs they're looking at, and how likely are those needs going to evolve. And digital is going to have a very big play to run. And I think that's why I'm very delighted as Kenya being made the innovation hub, one of the innovation hubs for UBA Group, because that means that we can integrate or do a lot of innovations to serve our now customer and the future customer.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The future is here. Mary Mulili, Executive Director, Banking at UBA Kenya. That is quite a heavy conversation, especially on the women bit. And I know you have questions. Please comment on our YouTube channel down there, and we'll be able to respond to them in that regard. But as it stands right now, that's it for the trading bell. Of course, we have to take a look at the markets before we close out, shall we?